Alright, what up? Welcome back. So, this is going to be a bit of a terrible video, and I apologize in advance. A lot going on here. Okay, let me punch out a little bit. Yeah, a lot going on. I have it organized in my mind, but unfortunately, just due to the sheer multitude of pieces, this is what I have to deal with. I apologize in advance. You can comment below how much of a mess my desk is. I will take it to heart, probably cry about it later, and then maybe pick up my desk. Maybe that'll motivate me. Bully me into cleaning after myself. Anyway, today we have this Canon AE-1. This was sent in by a customer. I did a little unboxing video. Didn't do any commentary for it because I didn't. This came in quite recently though, and I just wanted to take a look at it. It's kind of gross. You can see in there's some signs of mold growth, and then popping open the battery compartment right there, we can tell there's some clear gunkage going on there. So basically what's happening is the camera's not working at all. It's pretty much dead actually. And so I can tell this because one, put a new battery in and it is not firing. It is advanced, it's ready to go, but there's no power to the shutter magnet release right there. We can tell this by using our little friendly digital multimeter. Set that on top of all those spare parts, which again, I apologize for. Bear with me, okay? And now what we're gonna do is check voltages. This is basically the first, this is like the first contact points for the circuit. So if this is not registering power, then the rest of this is not going to read any power. Now we can tell quite immediately that it's not good, but separating that does get it to work, so that's good. The magnet also, the shutter magnet here also appears to be in good condition. Basically the two things we're looking for is these two brass wires, or copper wires I should say. They look like they're connected. That one might be severed actually now that I'm looking at it, but they look connected, and the armature is sticking to them, so that's good. The problem though is it doesn't have any power. The battery is new, so the contact potentially could be bad, which wouldn't surprise me given the rest of the condition of this camera, and or there's a failure in the circuit somewhere else. Not entirely sure where or what that might be. Also, it is important to note that when unboxing this, I did point out that the pins here were actually like soldered together, like there was just a glob of solder sitting connecting the two, which I think potentially could have shorted out the system. I don't know, but I think what we'll do now is we're going to take this apart because that will help me get a bit of a better idea of what we're looking at. So we're going to do this. It goes without saying, don't do this. Don't do what I'm doing, I should say, where you're taking apart a camera with the rest of your desk being a complete mess. I'm doing this because, one, by definition, I'm a professional, so that makes it okay. And two, I've taken apart enough AE-1s that I know what all the parts look like, I know what all the screws look like. Also, I have like hundreds and hundreds of spares, so it's like a little bit okay if I lose a screw or two because I have backups, but also like I just have a better idea of how all this works. Oh, that's gross. But that doesn't make it okay. I do need to clean up, I know that, I'm sorry, but right now we're just trying to get something done. So thank you for your understanding in this process. And I'm hoping that despite the mess, we can all learn something here today. Like, how gross will it get before I begin to vomit? I just had like a good amount of coffee too, because I've been really tired, so I'm like trying to caffeinate properly. That's been doing me some good. Anyway, also you may notice I got some new dinosaur friends here that will be featured in another video coming up. But I thought it was kind of fun. And also, I think when I get my desk more cleaned off, it'll be like much more fun to get to see all of the little trinkets that I've acquired. So it was interesting because, well, one, I've talked about this before, but you want to set it to bulb and 3200 before you take this off. But it was kind of feeling a little bit weird. And given just the nature of how this camera looks, I was kind of suspecting the tungsten wire to be ripped, but I'm not too sure. I will also say, given that it's a black AE-1, you want to be very delicate when taking off that top advanced lever cover piece. Just, oh yeah, that actually might be broken. Nope. I guess not. I don't know. We'll see. Because, yeah, it shows damage a lot more than the silver ones do. And also they're harder to come by. So, although I was looking at Nikon FEs the other day, just online, and there's a lot more silver ones than black ones than there are silver ones, interestingly enough. So, I don't really know what that means, but I will say the more black Nikons are usually a lot more dented and like broken than silver ones. And there's something about that. Oh yeah, no, that's torn, yeah. So I was correct about that. Tungsten wire is torn. I hate when I'm right about these things. Top is very gross. You can see that there's clear signs of corrosion and mold all up in the camera, which is awesome. Okay, just gonna set that there, set that there. I do think I have a couple of these. Fortunately, the customer also sent in like a complete parts camera, a parts AE-1, so I can just use all of those parts for this, which will be nice. The inside here is pretty gross and moldy. I don't know if you can really get a good glimpse of that. Let me see if I can maneuver the light around, but you can see there's some clear signs of mold growth all along here, in the bodywork too. I was noticing that before I took the top off. There's a bit of mold right up there too. This camera's really just seen better days, and not recently. If I had to guess, it's probably experienced a good deal of exposure to moisture and or just straight up water. So I'm wondering how waterlogged it potentially could be, if that could have short-circuited the electronics at some point, and or the lack of connection for the tungsten wire due to this whole thing being ripped, if that potentially caused some issues with the electronics. If we look back here though, you can just see the kind of discussion that we're dealing with. Looks like there's mold on that side, potentially even mold in between the two panes of viewfinder glass. There is also mold on the back of the prism here, mold up on the top, looks like rust on the housing for the use my words for the thing, for the light resistor. So that's pretty awesome. Overall, it's really gross in here. Oh yeah, also got that going on in there. Some like random fuzz and stuff. Yeah, really overall this is just disgusting. And this is not like, I'm not blaming the customer. If the customer's watching this, I do think they are, because they mentioned like, oh, please make a video or whatever. So literally nothing to do with them. I want to make that like perfectly clear. They got a camera, it doesn't work, send it in to me, I'll take care of it, that kind of deal. I have no beef. But I do just want to point out that stuff like this does happen. And really what it is just these cameras, the Canon AE-1 I think came out in 1976. So if we do the math, which is not my strong suit, that's what, 50-ish years ago? A little under 50 years ago. These cameras have been around for quite a bit of time. So it should be understandable that like some of them have seen better days. This happens to be one of them. And really there's any multitude of things that could have potentially happened to it. So what I'm going to do now is I'll walk through my game plan with you of how I'm going to fix this, or like my steps to take. So first off, I'm going to clean the back of the prism, clean the viewfinder, get that put back in so we don't have to worry about that. Clean whatever bits I can while I'm here. Then I'm going to see if I have a spare tungsten wire disc. I'm going to get that remounted and see if that potentially solves the power issue. If that does not work, and even if it does work, I'm still going to take my Dremel in here and clean out the battery compartment and then repaint it so it looks better than it does currently. I'll probably take the Dremel to a few other bits just to get the rust and mold cleaned off a little bit. I'm going to take the vinegar solution to get the mold out of the curtain here, clean out the interior, replace the light seals. Hopefully at that point, the power will then work. If it doesn't, then I'm going to have to go through and figure out where the fault is. Potentially replace this magnet if that is indeed the case. I don't think this one is bad though, because it was having proper resistance through the 2 points. I just think the compartment in here needs to be cleaned, and then this might need to be replaced to complete the circuit. Not entirely sure just yet, but really just needs a deep clean. All of this needs to be taken care of. So that's kind of the idea, but I just wanted to start off on this so that way I can kind of build some momentum into the repair process. So I'm going to do that, record a little bit of a video about that potentially, and then talk about it as I go. We'll go from there. So yeah, but that's the game plan. So let's do it.